Welcome to the Utterly Useless Podcast, a podcast to pass your time away, the useful parts of your life away in an utterly useless way. In this podcast, I am Brett, the Colonel Potter of this podcast. To my left is Jeremy, the Hawkeye of this podcast.
Yeah, okay, I'll take it. Yeah.
And to my right, the Radar O'Reilly of the podcast.
He's like, stop, listen. Choppers.
is Timmy.
Now, I have to stop you because I always ask this question whenever I hear any of the colonels mentioned. So are you prefer Potter over Blake?
I enjoy Blake. Like the first season 5 of MASH, Colonel Potter was hard to stomach. But the more he went along, the more enjoyable I found him. And then, of course, he was, sadly, Frank was no longer part of the cast when he really kind of came into his glory. But you basically had the diet Frank of Charles Emerson Winchester III. And so I'm like, and I really like how he would just get on him. And so it was kind of like that where, you had Colonel Blake who basically, had no idea what was going on. And it kind of, I was like, how are you a colonel again? I understand this is a comedy show, but how did this work? Like, did they just draw a name out of a hat?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, my thoughts on it is, I liked Blake because Blake was the complete opposite of Frank. And so it really kind of, that pendulum really, went that back and forth between the two. Mm-hmm. But I think when Frank became less Frankish and he became more of a...
Well, when he went insane, when Houlihan started seeing another person, that's like the worst season.
Yes, it is. But then, I think Potter is not quite, as far as the pendulum goes, same with Winchester. So,
I mean, I wish I could say I was, if Taylor was here, I'd call him the Colonel Flag of the podcast.
Is that because he has so many different jobs?
That and what was it? Like just some of the things that he says and Colonel Flag says. Like one of my favorite things that Colonel Flag has said is like Hawkeye's just like, why don't you laugh? He's just like, when I was a child, my mom used to make me watch the Three Stooges. And whenever I'd crack a smile, she'd beat me. And Colonel Potter is just like, yep, that'd do it all right.
That was funny.
All right. Well, in this podcast, we will get to that. I will have the introductory quote, and I know Jeremy will have no idea where this is from, and Timmy, I'm not sure he could get this, but it is light beer, veggie burgers, automatic transmission. Might as well let another dude bang your chick.
I don't know what this is from you.
It sounds familiar.
All right, let me give you another one.
Oh, wait. Cobra Kai?
Yes.
Yes, Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. Johnny Lawrence.
I have started that show. Just to let you guys know, I have started it. I have to wait for my wife to watch it. And unfortunately, there's a show that does take precedence in our watching, but we will come back to that. I'll tell you, though, she has a hard time with it because, first of all, she is a therapist. And the fact that, this is 80s talk.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really hard for her to hear somebody talk to another human being like that. So it's pretty crude.
And that's why I absolutely love Johnny Lawrence. Johnny, the first couple of episodes, I'm like, I should be laughing, but this is so not politically correct. Yeah. And then by episode 4, I'm like, this is just funny.
Well, we've restated this in the podcast, and Brett described the guy as sleeping for 30 years, waking up, and being the same guy.
It's true. It really is. I remember that during watching it. I'm like, why did they do this? Why is he frozen in time? And he's unaware of all the things around him kind of thing.
Oh, I love Cobra Kai.
But yeah.
What is it? The other one I was going to do is, you're my dork. Thanks for being such a great dork or geek or whatever you identify as.
But then to Criddle's point, I don't remember if you said this on podcast or off podcast, but when you mentioned like half the show is just a lack of communication, I was like, yep, I can see it, but I'm like, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So much for Google's advice on conflict resolution. I think my other thing is like, what is it? He gets that computer and he goes over to Miguel. He goes, put the internet on here.
So do you like this more than, they're two whole different shows. And I'm just want to say this complete, not segue, I digress. But some movie and TV critics say you can't compare all things because they're not in the same realm. I disagree. You can compare literally anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's what comparing is. This is the same. This is different. Whatever. The Good Place. I know you used to love that.
Oh, I love The Good.
Which one do you like more? I'm just curious.
See,
because you liked what's his name's lines a lot.
Yeah.
I was reading one just the other day. That's why it's fresh in my head. I forget his name though.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I see. I like the first season of The Good Place a lot. I think, is it the first two seasons where they're trying to figure out where they are, and at the end of the second season, then they
find out they're in the bad place. Yeah.
Spoiler. But I like Cobra Kai more, and the main reason why I like Cobra Kai more is because I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and these are the rude things that we as kids would say to each other on the playground. Nobody would really be that offended by it for the most part. And nowadays, if you were to hear some of these things that were said, like if a kid repeated some of these things on a playground, it'd be like, we need to talk.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's evident in like if you even watch Disney shows back in the early 90s, they had some foul things that they would say in cartoons. And you're like, wow, that would not fly in today's cartoons. Unless it's in Rick and Morty.
Yes, correct. All right. So from there, we are going to go to merit badges.
All right, merit badges. What do we got?
So I'll start us off. I have I'm just going to do this merit badge. And this actually happened to me yesterday. So I'm going to the gas station, filling up, picking up some things to go to work and whatnot. And I'm there, and I'm just grabbing this, grabbing that. And the female gas attendant sees this guy who comes in, and she's just like, oh, my word. Oh, you are so handsome. Oh, and I'm like, wow, that is like
direct.
And she's just like, I love your hair I love your haircut. And the guy goes, oh, thanks. And so I'm sitting there like back to everything, kind of curious, like, okay. I wonder, like, rippling chest, muscles bulging at the sleeves or whatever. Turn around, it's this like tall 6'7" Lurpy guy who has a bad comb over and kind of like, he kind of has a semi like ponytail. And I'm like, she's mocking him, right? And so he leaves or whatever, and I'm standing there, and she's staring out the window, watching him leave, just like aghast at this beautiful specimen of a man. And I'm like, I am paranoid about like my hair. Like I am like, do I look stupid? Like I would like my haircut to look like this, but then I have this like, weird paranoia that everybody is like against me and they don't want to hurt my feelings. And so I'm walking around with the stupidest haircut possible and nobody will tell me. And after that, I was just like, you know what? If something like that can just happen right before my eyes, yeah, I'm just going to go with this. I'm going to do what I want, and that's how I'm going to do it. Because like the drooling that happened over this average to subpar guy just had me baffled.
Yeah. That's funny. Just shows you that there's somebody out there for everybody.
Oh yeah.
I guess.
Hopefully, though, I mean, surprised that he didn't stick around unless he was taken, probably.
I know. Yeah, I have no idea. I was so confused.
You're in the bad place.
I'm sitting there going, "Oh my word!" Yeah, definitely.
That would be a great bad place for superficial people to go to. Like everybody that is unattractive or average is like all the opposite gender is attracted to them, and they're like, "But what about me? My rippling muscles and."
I mean, you're okay, but I mean.
But look at him. They're like, no. All right. Well, my merit badge. I think my merit badge, Criddle's already got earned before, so I'm getting a repeat.
The chef merit badge. Nice. What'd you make?
Nothing. I don't know what you called it because it's been a while back, but essentially, I get the floor sleeping merit badge.
Oh,
I remember this. Yeah.
So yeah. For the last couple of weeks, I've been sleeping on the floor a lot next to my, once again, always the reason I earn merit badges, Tess, my youngest daughter. She wakes up every night and I'm like, I am not picking you up there. I'm not getting you out of bed because she's one of those people that you hold her, you fall back asleep, and as soon as you put her back in her bed, she wakes up. So I'm like, you're staying in your bed. I'm just laying next to you. And she tends to be fine with that. But the thing that sucks is like, I try to sneak out like a ninja because like it's pitch black in there. But yet she knows when I'm leaving sometimes. So I'm like, fine, I am just going to sleep in here then. So as soon as I come in, I bring some pillows with me and a blanket, and I sleep on the floor for like a couple hours. And it's the worst sleep ever, but it's better than nothing.
She has like daddy sense. You know, it's like spider sense, except she's just like, Daddy's leaving. Daddy's leaving.
I remember one time I tried to fool my kids, and I brought in a blanket and I put pillows underneath the blanket to make them think I was in there.
It didn't work?
It worked one day.
That's awesome.
That'd be funny. They're just like, they go to jump on you and they hit the floor. They're like, we just killed Dad.
Okay, I heard this yesterday. This kind of has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it does. It was the most ingenious thing I've ever heard of. So it was another podcast. These dads were talking about their kids, and they were talking about, the kids eating the crust. You know, obviously, I think I hated the crust as a kid. Now I don't even care. But they're like, one of the dads like, I don't care. I make them eat it. Like, how do you make them eat it? He's like, well, they don't even know they're eating it. Like, how do you not know? Like, it's like, well, I mean, not the typical crust, but the heel. He's like, what I do is I just turn that upside down and face it down in there. And so they're seeing bread side, like, the white side up. And he says, and then real to like seal the deal, he has one of those little sandwich cutters that cuts off the exterior of it. And then it looks like a perfectly fine. He's like, I've been doing it for years and they have no idea.
That's so funny because, I feel as though I would know because especially like Wonder Bread, you can tell how, like, for some reason, the heel of it curls a certain way.
Yes, it does.
That dad deserves a merit badge.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
Yeah.
I was like, that's ingenious. I am going to try that with my kids if they ever eat sandwiches, to be honest.
However, like at one point in time, our mom would go down to the bread shop that is very well known in Utah, and like my favorite parts of that bread are the heels. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know why, but they're just like twice as like delicious, moist, whatever.
I know what you're talking about, and I agree.
And so for some reason, a lot of people don't like them. And so sometimes they would take them out and then sell them separately for like $1. And so my mom came home one day with like 5 or 6 of them. And she goes, would you eat these? I mean, I spent $6 on them. I'm like, this is a thing? Like nothing but the heel, the next one from the heel, and then the other heel, and then yes.
I'm kind of surprised it'd go for that much, though, too, since it's especially not wanted.
Yeah.
You thought you'd get like a whole loaf of edges for half the price.
Yeah. But they did is they just kind of put it in it, and then they just kind of tied it closed. So
gotcha.
Okay.
I was just like, yes. And then I guess people started like really like, ooh, we really like the heels, and so then they started charging a lot more for them.
Ah, lame.
I know.
Okay. Well, my merit badge this week, I got the Fruit Ninja merit badge.
Ooh.
So I'm going to show you guys a picture, and then I'll describe it to the listeners. I cut and peeled about 200
kiwis. Oh, okay.
with a little paring knife.
Wow.
So there was a little bit of a dispute or discrepancy with our vendors at work, and where too much fruit was ordered. And so I felt bad giving it to one of our employees to do, and so I decided to help him out. And I started peeling and cutting kiwis, over 200.
Wow.
And it was like an hour and a half worth of work.
Wow. Did you find a nice style to do it in? Is something that we don't know on how to do them? Kiwis are a pain in the butt.
Kiwis are a pain. Mm-hmm. I mean, you technically can eat the skin on a kiwi if you really wanted to.
Oh, yeah. I've done that. I do that a lot.
I mean, you don't have to, but to make it more appetizing and appealing to our clientele, I just thought it looks prettier green instead of brown. Mm-hmm. And I just decided, I'm going to help him out. And but there's there's a couple different techniques that you can do. You can cut it in half and then core it out with a spoon. But I got into a groove with this paring knife. I became one with the paring knife, and I was just peeling them quickly.
Do you get to listen to your headphones when you're doing stuff like this?
Unfortunately, I can't.
Do you know what you should have done? Before you started, you should have just heard, okay, Timmy-san, show me cut the kiwi.
As I look up into the air. Don't worry, I have more kiwis I have to cut next week.
I will tell you, I was like this close to losing all respect for you, because had you turned your phone around and it would have been the Fruit Ninja game, I would have been like, that was like popular 8 years ago.
5 years ago, yeah, I know. I kind of figured it had nothing to do with that, but yeah, good point. If that was what it was, but I just found this game.
That would have been crickets.
And then, do you know what I also found? There's this game called Angry Birds. They're birds that you like throw at each other.
And the question is, are they really angry, or are they? They don't seem angry.
I mean, the cows are passive, so
they're cows. I thought they're pigs.
What pigs, cows? I don't know. I'm just trying to knock them over.
Spin the wheel.
All right, spin the wheel. We have 10 category of questions, which we're going to spin the wheel to decide the fate of everyone of what question we're going to ask. And here we go. Brett, you get lick off.
All right. So for lick off, so let's just say this is, I'm curious. I've done this one before. I don't think I have. I think this is brand new. So you you go into a house at random. They pull out the refrigerator, and you lick from one side of where the refrigerator was in the direct center all the way to the other side.
When you say center.
So you pull out the refrigerator on the floor. Mm-hmm. There is all those like nice fibrous things, Lost Cheerios and G.I. Joe Man. And you start from like the left side, like in the direct center of where the refrigerator is, going from the left all the way to the right in one continuous line.
Gotcha. I was thinking center, front to the back.
Yeah.
What house is this again? Just
a house at random.
Gosh.
We just point to a house, like that house right there. Knock, knock, knock. Hey, could we like move out your fridge? We'll clean it all up behind there, but we'd like to do something first.
It's an experiment.
We'll pay you $50.
I can just imagine like your tongue at the end of this has so much dust on the end of it, Cheerios, all that, and you're sticking it out, still going.
And then you sneeze and.
Because I don't have to swallow it, I think I'm fine with this. I'm going to start off with. I'll start off with 10,000.
Ooh.
I'll go down to 8,000.
Okay. I'll go down to 5,000.
4,000.
2,000.
1,000.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We're going down to 750.
Okay. Oh, big leap. Okay. Oh, 500.
Okay. You know what? I'm just thinking just now. I was only thinking of dry goods. What if somebody spilled something on?
Oh yeah, there could have been some milk there that was like accidentally spilled and dried, but you know what? At least it hasn't curdled. It's just possibly dried sour milk.
Think of the Doritos in the garbage. You know, the inspiration behind that.
Now, dude, can we pick a neighborhood at least? Can we be involved in that?
We're not going to like, the Richie, but I'm not going to take you down to, downtown Salt Lake and be like there.
Okay. Just an average suburb.
No
I mean,
huts.
Granted, if we did go to like, a bad part of Salt Lake, I could, try to do one of my favorite lines ever, which would be like, so we were wondering if we could come in and we could do something with your fridge. We'll clean it up afterwards. We'll give you $1. And then they're like, oh, gee, thanks. That's really nice of you. But, we're not really that that desperate. And we're like, how about $2? And then,
Okay.
Okay.
What do you leave off with?
500.
500. Because of the unsurety of dry versus liquid ingredients down there, I'm going to leave it to you for 500.
Wow. Okay. I had a number in mind I was going to go down to and then stop.
What is that number? I'm just curious.
250.
250.
Oh.
Yeah. That the liquid stuff just really, as soon as that got in my head, it really grossed me out because I was like, I can handle dry stuff. Just lick it and pick up whatever.
I figure, how often does somebody actually spill something around the fridge?
Well,
I do.
I mean, and I said, center. So like,
That's true.
It would be,
It would have to go quite a
it would have
ways.
had to been
Yeah.
a lot of stuff to have gone all the way back.
That's true. I guess I could have kept going.
Yeah.
But whatever. I give it to you.
Hey.
Well, congratulations. All right, my turn. And I got, could you fight it? All right. This one is going to create a international conflict. Could you fight Kim Jong-un? Just him. Nothing else. No strings attached. Just him.
So I don't have to go through like his barrage of like, assassins and stuff like that. He's not the final boss.
Nope.
And,
It's just all of a sudden you walk into a room, they lock you into it, and it's just him. And all of a sudden you hear over the PA like, the one that lives leaves.
first guy to die loses.
Exactly. First guy to die loses.
All right.
And you get a shiny new coin.
Probably what I do is hopefully I happen to have like a Denver donut and I hold it over and then I throw it off a cliff and he just jumps for it.
Oh.
Yeah, I could fight him. And then, but you know what I would do is after I walk out, I'd be like, I'd look at everybody of North Korea and be like, he just told me that I by me defeating him, I am now the sole commander of North Korea.
There you go. Now you're the new, what is it? Is he an emperor? What is he?
I don't know, dictator.
Dictator, something like that. What would you do? With
You
your
know what?
power?
I would be like, you know what? We can't, as much as we want world peace or whatever, that's not going to happen. I mean, because then eventually the aliens would come and we'd have to build boards with nails in them and stuff like that.
And bigger boards.
And then
with
bigger nails. And then, exactly. So I would do, you know what? Let's make one whole Korea.
Be like, you pull out some keys, go to South Korea. Here you go. Keys to the North Korea.
Yep.
It's all yours. Do what you want.
And then I would just walk off to the end music with my hand pumped in the air to Breakfast Club.
Would you freeze frame?
Exactly. And people would be like, is he okay?
How long is he going to stand there? All of a sudden the sun sets and it comes back up. He's gone. Ooh.
He's having a moment.
Yeah.
I think I I think it's pretty obvious what I would do. I would strike first, strike hard, no mercy.
Nice.
Is it me that I would probably do a very non-masculine thing and grab his hair? Because he's got long hair and that like buzz around the side. I guess similar to mine a little bit.
Do you yield?
Okay, because you said that, side question, Tim. So, because I think we can agree, Johnny Lawrence is the best character in Cobra Kai.
Agreed.
What? I'm so bad with names. Do I know him yet?
Main blonde guy.
The
dad.
The dad. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Who is your second favorite character in all of Cobra Kai?
In all of Cobra Kai, man.
Because Miguel is likable, but you know what? I have somebody who I absolutely love this character.
I do like. I like Chosen a lot.
Oh man, I loved seeing him again. That was good. However, so I will say this: my second favorite character, Hawk.
Oh yeah, Hawk.
I love Hawk.
I love Hawk.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? I could have watched the whole season or show and not know who you're talking about because I probably brought it up on this podcast before, but I can watch a whole show and not know who anybody's names are.
Mohawk.
Mohawk. I don't think I've seen a Mohawk.
Okay.
What episode are you on? One?
No.
You got to the title sequence?
No, I feel like I'm, around 5-ish.
Oh yeah, you should know Hawk.
Lip.
Yeah, the guy that has the
He has like
the
a
hair lip?
piercing? He has hair lip guy. Oh, he has a mohawk?
He will.
Oh,
wow.
apparently I'm not there yet.
I'm surprised that I thought that happened like episode 3.
No, yeah, I do think he's funny because he definitely is the talker.
I love when he comes on screen and they just do the Hawk sound.
I'll tell you. So that was almost this year's Halloween costume. I was inches away from purchasing a Cobra Kai.
I'm on episode 6 is my next one. So I was
Okay.
right. I finished 5 episodes.
Oh, hey.
So I was like that close to purchasing a Cobra Kai, non-traditional, actual, authentic outfit, just, a standard thing. But I was like, you know what? It came with a blonde wig. I'm like, I'm not going to be Johnny Lawrence. I need to hawk my hair. I need to be Hawk, man.
So to give you kind of an insight and reminding you of what episode 5 is like. So episode 5 is the one that at the very end of the episode, the whole student body is lined up to take lessons.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I'm at right
Okay.
after that. I forgot if it was was it the fight in the lunchroom
Yes.
that got everybody there?
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
Miguel.
But do you know what's so funny? Watching this show, not only all the 90s and 80s callback stuff, but almost the way that this show is filmed, it's almost like the high school is also kind of a little bit retro in itself. It's not completely modern, at least maybe it is, and I'm just out of touch.
Either that or, it's a standard LA, downtown California-ish type of high school.
I mean, my high school I went to in California was run down, almost old school community college where it wasn't an indoor school. It was all the entrances were outside.
And funny that you should say that is
Yes.
me and Jeremy went to a high school in Utah that is also a old rundown California high school.
It is. It was designed for mainly Arizona and California to have because there's a lot of you have to walk outside to go to the next building.
When I was in California for 2 years and we drove past high schools built around the same time that Skyline was built, I was just like, they weren't kidding. They just carbon copied a California high school.
That's funny. I have to say though, there's some inaccuracy to the show. I have to say it. I called it out to my wife. I said, that's not right. So in the lunchroom, that fight goes on way too long. My fights in school were stopped very quickly. There were teachers coming out of all the woodworks It's funny. My wife's like, there was teachers in lunchrooms? I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's
Not
interesting.
mine.
Not mine.
Oh,
No,
really?
No. There was a couple of fights that at Wasatch, they're in that cubby corner.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah.
That's like the fight area where you're like, you'd expect
You're talking about by the windows?
Yes.
Okay.
You'd expect that people would know that that's where things go down and always have somebody there like supervising or watching. No. It was almost like they were like, again? Wow, that is so weird.
Every single one of my lunchroom brawls ended with a teacher grabbing me and pulling me back. Fun fact about me, I got in a lot of fights.
I mean, to me, the easiest deterrent I think, at least when I was in high school, the easiest deterrent to not fight is the teachers closest to the lunchroom were the men's PE coaches and the weight room coach.
Yep.
Sounds about right.
But yeah. All right. Next we have Criddle, and you got What If?
All right. What if Hollywood made a movie about this podcast?
Ooh.
Who would you cast as each person?
Oh, Johnny Lawrence is me. Or, not, and I said that on purpose that way. Not William Zabka, Johnny Lawrence.
Okay, before we get into this, I just have to make sure. I don't know if everybody else is like me, like you guys especially, who are movie buffs. When you see somebody who looks like somebody, do you want to tell them? Because I always want to tell them, but I'm always afraid that it'll offend them. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I could see how that could offend somebody if like I say they look like them because they're not, super attractive or whatever. I'm like, I don't really care.
I don't know. I feel like if you told somebody they look like somebody, it's like, and they're famous.
Because there's a guy I work with, and do you guys watch Superstore?
I've never seen that.
I've seen bits and pieces.
Did you see the what's his name? Nicolas Cage movie that I recommended a while back?
Probably not.
The one that he plays himself?
No, I have not.
Anyways, there's just this guy from they're brothers, but anyway, I won't get into it. But I'm like, I don't think it's the best. He's a super attractive guy to be saying like, you remind me of him. Anyway, I'm gonna start off by saying stuff. I've always leaned towards you looking like a little bit like Jesse Eisenberg, Criddle.
Okay.
I don't know if that'd be your best portrayal, though. What do you think, Brett? With starting off Criddle,
I could see that. I mean, no. Here's who I want to play Timmy Criddle in the made-for-life movie, TV movie, whatever weekly thing. I want
Lifetime.
the best Spider-Man.
Ooh, you're doing Andrew
Garfield.
Wow. Okay.
Because also, not only would it be good, but you know what you could also do? No.
You just do the head bob. Has anybody ever seen him do that in any other movies? Because
No.
I haven't.
No.
You should start paying attention.
Yeah, I'll have to rewatch, what is it?
Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge.
He's bobbling his head as he's saying it.
He's like, I've come here to say, no, go back. Nah, I'm not going to say it. Nah.
Once again, I digress. Would that movie have been better if Vince Vaughn was not in it?
Yes.
Okay, just curious.
That casting right there and Ted Danson in Saving Private Ryan were the stupidest casting.
Yeah, I could agree. But now Ted Danson's in everything.
Oh, yeah.
Brett.
Yes.
Who, now, I know you'd like to hear that Zac Efron's going to play you.
Yes.
Because then you could hang out with him. He'd get to know you as a person.
I'm still like keeping the fingers crossed that he's going to be doing some sort of movie where he has to find a teacher to kind of like explain to him and how to do certain things, and then
He reaches
miraculous.
out to someone in Utah.
Exactly. Reach out to somebody in Utah, like, hey, you know what? We got a good teacher over here at this school. Let's and then be like, oh, hey.
You can. I'm one of the few male teachers in the school.
Do
So
you want to also be a workout buddy too?
you know what? I'm trying to think of somebody else, but Zac Efron actually would work. What do you think, Criddle, for Brett?
Well, Zac Efron could work. I mean, you've also compared yourself to Ted Mosby in the past.
Yeah. But,
Ted Mosby, architect. Never forget Ted Mosby. I mean, if I had my selection, and in the like 2008 through the 2014s, I was compared multiple times to the actor in Forever Strong. I had to look it up because I don't know.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
I don't know what his name is, but Sean Ferris.
Okay.
And I was told by many, many people. And at one point in time, remember, like, you know, when like Facebook used to be like really a big thing, and they're like, okay, now it's time to change your profile picture to your celebrity lookalike. So one time one year, I think it was like 2008 or 10 or something like that, I changed it to that. And a couple people reached out and they're just like, no, you're not supposed to like do glamour shots. You're supposed to, I'm like, thank you.
That's funny. I vaguely remember what he looks like, but another person that comes to mind, the dad off of Warrior, like the brother dad guy.
I've never seen Warrior.
You've never seen Warrior? Have you seen Warrior?
Yeah, with Tom Hardy,
Yeah, Tom Hardy and
his brother.
His brother.
Oh, okay.
For some reason, I want to say his name starts with Joel, but
Edgerton.
yeah, is it Joel Edgerton? I'm pulling it up now because I want to know. Because Brett needs to know.
I need to know.
You,
I gots to know.
He plays in Star Wars as
yeah,
Owen.
Joel Edgerton. This guy, right?
Uncle Owen.
Yeah, that's right. It is Uncle Owen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm down with that.
So yeah, one of those three. I'm gonna just be nice and say Zac Efron.
Yeah.
Aw,
Okay, we'll go Zac Efron.
Let's see. What should we do for Jeremy?
I don't even know.
I think it's pretty clear.
I mean, yeah.
it's clear.
The 101.
Ooh,
Adam
ooh.
Sandler.
Oh, really? Now, I have to say this because you didn't grow up with me, and you know what I look like now. Do I look like Adam Sandler to you?
A little bit.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow. Because I got called Adam Sandler from the time that I was, I want to say like 8 or so. And I remember the first time somebody called me that, I'm like, who is that? And I went home from school and I said, Mom, who's Adam Sandler? And she goes, oh, he's on SNL. I'm like, what's SNL? I don't even know. And then so she rented this movie, Billy Madison, and she's like, this is him. This is the guy you look like. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then everywhere I went, like I played basketball, and the same referee would always call me Happy. And I'm like, this is a thing? I look like Happy Gilmore? I look like Adam Sandler? It's funny because my wife's like, no, you do not look like Adam Sandler. So it's just funny to hear that you think I look like Adam Sandler.
Well, it's so funny because like one of my childhood friends, Joey, for about a 2 to 3 year period, he would go to Smith's across the street, and people would stop him and ask him, "Are you Macaulay Culkin?" And I was just like, are they blind? You don't look anything like Macaulay Culkin.
I could see him as Macaulay Culkin when he's in his teenage years or something like that, because he starts getting scruffy and
Yeah, but no, we're talking
Yeah,
about an 8,
like
9, 10.
Home Alone
yeah,
time.
Home Alone time.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's dumb. All right, so we got Adam Sandler, Jesse Eisenberg, and Zac Efron.
Andrew Garfield.
What about
Oh,
Taylor?
Andrew Garfield,
What about
yeah.
Taylor?
Oh yeah, Taylor. Oh gosh, Taylor. Who can play Taylor?
We'd have to do some seancing or whatever, but I think if we, and this would be super funny, is if we got what's his face, Knight's Tale guy, what is it?
Oh, Heath Ledger?
Heath Ledger, but Heath Ledger would have to play Taylor as the Joker.
For some reason, as soon as you said seance time, I'm like, are we going to get Belushi back from the dead? I'm like, I could kind of see that maybe. I don't know.
Hey, Heath Ledger's just like, so, what? I can't even do that.
Where'd you get? Want to know where I got these donuts?
So, for the lick off. Let's see. No, that wouldn't. No.
I'm just curious. Could Criddle also pass as Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just thought of that because of the Joker. I can't.
Kevin James?
Oh,
Kevin James, yeah.
yeah. I can see that.
Chris Farley, if he was still with us.
Yep. Yeah.
Taylor is so one of a kind.
Yeah.
I can't typecast
Taylor will
him.
play himself.
Exactly.
Like we can't do it. There's nobody like you, and their actors can't get to your level.
You've literally broken the system.
For once, we found a character that cannot be portrayed by anybody else.
They're gonna have to like do it like an amalgam of like 3 people, and they're just like, this is Taylor Beams, and they're just like, he's like, that's not even close.
But I think Chris Farley would work if we could bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Now it's back to Brett with random question.
All right, so this is a desert island random question and kind of a would you rather. So on a desert island, would you rather be stranded with a man who thinks and acts like Rick Sanchez,
Okay. Rick and
or
Morty, right? Okay.
or be stranded on a desert island with a man who thinks he's Ben Stein as seen on Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Oh, man.
So the person thinks they act like Rick Sanchez.
Yes.
Or they act like Ben Stein.
Uh-huh.
I'd worry that the Rick Sanchez version would get me killed. And that's the only problem. I would pick him almost always, except for that, because I would become his Morty.
Bueller.
So we're looking for food. Anyone? Anyone?
You know what? I guess I'm gonna. Oh my gosh! But the Rick Sanchez person's also like they're both probably intelligent people.
Yes.
So, but Rick Sanchez, is he gonna start just grabbing things and building things just randomly? Hopefully, he builds something that gets us off the island quicker.
I'm going with Rick Sanchez because I feel like he'd be more useful, but I need to keep my distance.
Mm-hmm.
But Ben Stein I would stop talking, please.
Criddle.
Like, I'm gonna build a fort. Could you somebody grab me that that log? Anyone?
Okay, I'm gonna draw a line in the sand. You stay on your side.
You wake up in the morning. Criddle. 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 Anyone? Criddle.
That's almost worse than a Sheldon.
Ooh, Sheldon or Ben Stein.
Oh man,
That's worse. Oh my gosh. I think I would probably choose Sheldon out of those two because he has a little bit more.
you're in my spot.
Like we're literally on a desert island. It doesn't matter.
But the way that the air comes in and the sun hits right here, this is my spot. I would rather pick Sheldon over that because he at least probably would be a lot more entertaining to be around than Ben Stein. But I think I'm going with Rick Sanchez with the original question.
Yep, Rick Sanchez.
Okay.
All right, it's me. Okay, and I get Kiss, Marry, Kill. Once again, we're going to make this a little geography-ish. So instead of people, we're going to do states edition.
Ooh.
Can you imagine what state is one of them?
Oh, funny. Okay, before you begin, I picked up a comic book. And here's the funny thing. So it's this comic company that has so many like not that many people carry them because they have rules and stipulations or whatever. I'd have to grab like somebody else to go pick up this because I'd love to get it for Taylor. But it is basically called, what is it? It's called oh man, now I forgot the title during the whole monologue thing, but it's basically like the worst part of Wyoming or something like that. I'd have to, but I'm like, I need to buy this for Taylor. I haven't read it yet, but I'm like, I bought it, and I'm like, I need to get this to Taylor.
Yep. And we need to find out what it's about.
Yeah.
All right. So Kiss, Marry, Kill. Wyoming, New Mexico, Kansas.
Okay.
Sorry to your states. They just are boring.
I've lived in New Mexico for 4 months, and it is grueling. Like I was expecting warm-ish weather similar to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like surprised at how cold I got the entire time. So I will surprise you. I will kill New Mexico.
I'm kind of surprised.
Uh-huh. I've driven through Kansas, and it's so boring. It's so flat. I will kiss Kansas, and you know what? I will marry Idaho.
Oh, wow.
Or not
Wyoming.
Idaho, Wyoming.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Because at least there's mountains, and you can do stuff.
And apparently you're going to cheat on Wyoming with Idaho.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, I already let that out of the bag.
Oops. Freudian slip.
I'm gonna kill New Mexico. Just because it's just I think New Mexico. I think it's hot. And I just feel like that's like a scene for horror movies. So, and then I'll kiss Wyoming, marry Kansas.
I think we're all going to marry the same people because I'm going to marry Kansas as well.
Oh, I'm marrying Wyoming.
Oh, that's right. You're marrying.
At least they have a basketball team. That's good.
Mm-hmm. I'm killing Wyoming because I hate wind so much, and it's windy. And I've never been to I've been to Chicago's airport, but I've never been to Chicago, so I don't know the wind there. But I hate how windy it is in Wyoming. Every time I go to visit camping or whatever, going to Yellowstone, it is just so freaking windy. I mean, if you have to put little guardrails on the side of the road just so you don't get blown off the road, it says you're a little windy.
Okay.
So, and I'm kissing New Mexico because whatever, it's just a kiss.
Dry kiss.
Exactly. Come back with a whole bunch of just my lips are chapped. All right. And last one, Criddle. You get Desert Island.
If you washed up on a desert island with one inanimate object of your choosing to be your Wilson, like in Castaway, and you would apply a similar kind of face on it, what would it be?
So any inanimate object?
Basically.
A fridge full of food?
If you want.
I was thinking maybe a gun and call it Colt. What would be useful? Because I don't want just a ball.
So I would pick. So there's an issue of it's a very famous looking issue of Detective Comics. It is a very nice cover, but it is a picture of the Joker, and he looks insane. But as you kind of start going from his face on up, it turns into like bats or something like that. I would have that.
You just have a comic book?
Yes, I'd already because I would have a face to talk to.
Okay.
Could have a mirror.
No. I would
Hey, you. Oh, man.
because I would be looking at the mirror, being like, "Why am I here? This is all your fault. Why did you decided to go on a vacation and we ended up here?"
You can always dress up the mirror, though. Like, that one has a mustache.
Yeah, multiple personalities. Can a cell phone, waterproof cell phone, just
No power, but
I'm gonna just go with like more or less a person. I think I would go with. You know what? I'd go with a I was thinking of this, and it's funny. It's right next to me. I'd go with one of these little exercise balls. And it just floats up because then I could play with it and talk to it, and it could help me float.
Okay. I would choose either an action figure of some kind because it would be nice to have a face, and it'd be easy to carry around with you wherever you go on the island.
Put them in your pocket. Like, hey, what? Oh yeah, I can't carry the ball.
Get back, Flash. Or I would have a surfboard, and I would
There you go.
And then I would put a face on it, and then it'd be used as shade, and I'd have a conversation with the.
And you can ride the surfboard out in the water.
Exactly.
Oh, man, surfboard is an awesome choice. Good job, Cradle. It's like you had time to prepare for this. But yeah, I guess mine sucks. So let's move on. All right, back to movie madness. If you joined us last week, we started our movie madness for the most rewatchable comedy movies. Now, we've had some unfortunate ones that fell to some pretty big hitters there. And it was really sad to see him go. In any other tournament, they would have kept going on. We haven't forgotten them, but
The Fallen.
Yes. It is sad to see them go. So the ones that we picked, we're on to our Sweet 16 now, and now we're going to decide to the next fate, the Elite Eight. So let's start it off. So the first round, we have Dumb and Dumber versus Spaceballs.
Oh.
What I think two very iconic movies.
Very.
Dumb and Dumber, obviously came out when I was, I think it came out at a time where I could actually, even though I wasn't 13 yet.
2000 or 93, 94.
But I watched it pretty much as soon as it came out.
Uh-huh.
Where Spaceballs came out about the time I was a baby.
Yeah, about 87.
I was a wee little baby, wee little sexy baby.
Oh, baby. The other white meat.
If you ask me, Dumb and Dumber is a tinge less quotable, just a tinge, because Spaceball has just so many quotes.
Yes.
I think what Spaceballs has is almost a perfect formula for comedy and just the story in it. I'm kind of leaning more towards Spaceballs. That's just me.
Oh, yeah. I think, well, for me, it is Spaceballs, and it's not even close. I mean, I know these both were probably could be, one or two or something like that. But to me, this is like, Dumb and Dumber came in, I'm a 3 pick. And then, you're just like, actually, what, because of like, positioning or whatever, you were actually a 14 the entire time because Spaceballs is a 1.
Yes. I mean, I gotta agree, but the one thing I'd have to say the most is, oh man, last week I forgot what word I just kept on throwing out, but like there's just some lulls in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
And Spaceballs is, I feel like, just constant. There might be, I don't know. There might be the smallest lulls in Spaceballs, but Dumb and Dumber by far has more, where it's just kind of, it drags on just a tinge, not much.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with that, Spaceballs has got it, which everybody kind of saw that coming.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one, a little bit more difficult. I feel like Happy Gilmore versus Airplane. Oh. Now, remember, this is the most rewatchable, not your favorite.
Well, as I've rewatched Airplane probably 297 times, Airplane.
Airplane is a good movie. This one's harder for me because, like, I have seen Airplane a bunch of times. I've seen Happy Gilmore a bunch of times. It's probably the most Adam Sandler movie I've watched. Like, I've watched it more frequently than any other one.
Yeah. At one point in time, anger management was creeping up on the more times I've watched than Happy Gilmore. And then I rewatched Happy Gilmore. I'm like, and then it just kind of took over.
Airplane is also dated. So that's, Happy Gilmore is a little bit more current. This one's hard for me because, I mean, I do like Airplane a lot, but I've almost wondered if I've watched it too much at this point, like to be a contender versus Happy Gilmore.
This is a tough one. I do enjoy Airplane a whole lot, and then Happy Gilmore's there too. I'm gonna lean more towards Happy Gilmore, but I'm happy with either one going on. This is a tough one.
Yeah, this one's a really tough one because, like, I just think I've worn Airplane to the point where they're about equal to me, and I'm having a hard time because I'm recalling all the the Leslie Nielsen quotes in there.
Just go to your happy place.
Okay.
Me, John, big tree.
Okay. I tried to rewatch them really quickly through my brain.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. And I think I'm going Airplane.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to go there. I came in thinking I was going to pick Happy Gilmore. And so, but when I started reliving the movie side by side, and if you ask me, like, so Happy Gilmore has lulls. Airplane actually has lulls, bigger lulls, but they work for it. I don't know how to explain that.
I get it.
You get it?
I get it.
Okay.
I mean, the lulls are like, when he starts talking to the people that are right next to him.
Exactly, yes. So it's a build-up lull, I guess you could say. It's building up to the joke, the punchline, where Happy Gilmore's lulls are more, I mean, I don't know. I love...
like Airplane, if it's not telling a joke, it's setting up for the next joke.
Exactly, yes.
I get it, yep. I'm not even mad about it.
All right, next one, Dodgeball versus Galaxy Quest.
Ooh.
Oh.
This one, I feel like they're both in the same... I mean, this is the same, like, playing field for both of them. They both came out in similar times. Galaxy Quest a little bit older. Dodgeball, but I mean, it's the same goofball comedy. Not as goofball maybe as Dodgeball. Dodgeball's a little bit more, but Galaxy Quest is still.
See, to me, the greatest part about Galaxy Quest is it takes a franchise like, Star Wars, Star Trek, or whatever, and it makes it realistic, but it also takes the whole convention tour, which is like at the time I'd been to one Star Trek convention, and I will tell you, like, everybody's like, oh, you'd love to go to Comic-Con. I'm like, no, I've been to a Star Trek convention. I'm nerdy. I've realized I'm not that nerdy.
It's funny how the Star Trek conventions were a thing, and first of all, they were so nerdy that only the top echelon of nerds went, and then nobody talked about them for like a decade, and all of a sudden Comic-Con just came out of nowhere, and this is ginormous thing that all of a sudden everybody wants to go to. Doesn't matter if they're nerdy or not, they just want to go to it. It's like the mecca of, like, in my opinion, it is probably more of a mecca than Star Trek conventions ever were.
Mm-hmm.
So I think so. My thoughts on this: Galaxy Quest, once again, has a little bit more lulls there. Dodgeball, a little bit more quick pace comedy there.
Well, and you know who, like, I forget he's in it, but what's his face from Arrested Development that is the color commentator?
Bateman.
Oh, Bateman, yes.
Jason Bateman. I forget he's in that.
Yeah, he is so funny.
This is an interesting strategy, Scott, and we'll see how this plays out.
He is wearing a blindfold.
He will not be able to see well.
His vision will be impaired. Oh, yes. I love that. Like, and it's funny because I don't know if you're like me. I'm sure you are when it comes to this. There's comedies where it's like one half, it's like heavy, it's weighted one direction or the other, where it's like with Dodgeball, there's the pre-play, like the tournament, and then there's the tournament. And sometimes with comedies, you're like getting through one, like the pre-tournament to get to the tournament. This time with Dodgeball, I actually like the pre-tournament and I like the tournament. They both are enjoyable. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like those movies. But in Galaxy Quest is maybe just a tinge like that. There's pre them going to space, and then there's them in space, which I think I like them in space a lot more than pre-space.
Well, I think what makes that enjoyable in Galaxy Quest is these guys were, quote unquote, kind of trained for space, but fake space. And then they get put in real space.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to put my vote in first. I'm going Dodgeball. It is a lot more rewatchable.
The more I think about it, the more I'm leaning towards Dodgeball 2, and I think the whole has the formula.
Yeah, I will tell you, I was strong Galaxy Quest, but talking through the whole thing, I also go Dodgeball.
Yeah, I keep on having to remind myself they're not my favorite movie. Like, this isn't my favorite movie. It's just the most rewatchable. Although, I would say that possibly Dodgeball might be more a favorite than Galaxy Quest, but not by much. Okay, next one, Tommy Boy versus Office Space. Now, talk about two iconic movies.
And very kind of opposite.
Different deliveries.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think the delivery method itself is going to be the deciding factor for me. I don't know, like the type of comedy.
Yeah.
Here's one more comedy. One type of comedy is a little bit more rewatchable than the other type of comedy.
I'm just gonna put my vote out there and say Tommy Boy. I love Chris Farley, and when I see him in a movie, he just reels me in.
Yes.
And brings me into that world, and I just get thoroughly entertained and enjoy it.
Has Chris Farley ever been in a bad movie?
I think, to me, I did not like Beverly. What is it? Beverly
Hills
Ninja?
I forgot about that one.
I did not particularly.
I'm like, oh, he's never been in a movie. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's probably the least Chris Farley movie.
Yes.
I mean, I was thrilled when I was working at a video store, and the person that was in charge of buying movies for our video store, because this is back in the day where not everything was available directly, and so a lot of the bigger titles, they would cost you anywhere from $89 to $104, and so they would have to strategically purchase certain titles and not purchase certain titles. And so I remember setting a whole bunch of like garbage up on the wall, and I remember seeing the cover of Dirty Work, and I'm like, huh. And then I saw co-starring Chris Farley was like one of the co-stars or something like that. I'm like, well, I'll have to give this a go.
He got you in the door.
Yeah, he got me in the door, and then I've been a Norm Macdonald fan ever since.
Love Norm Macdonald.
Was that a Happy Madison production? It wasn't, was it?
I
think it was.
Which one?
Dirty Work.
Dirty Work? Ooh.
I think it was pre.
I think it was, yeah.
That was what, 92?
No, that was 97, 98.
I don't know.
Okay. So back to the question I had. So Tommy Boy, I mean, I love all the characters. It's funny. This is how weird I was with movies at that time. I had no idea who Rob Lowe was at that time. To me, he was. You never knew either?
No, I didn't know either. Like all I knew whenever I saw him on a movie, I'm like, oh, that's like the buff,
Tommy Boy guy.
The buff guy that got his shirt ripped off and he just walked out of the office casually.
That was funny. Yeah, he was buff in that. Yeah. You have him. You know what? I'm just curious. Do you guys like Dan Aykroyd's character? Because I like him a lot in that movie. Because his voice could be portrayed as really annoying and all that. But I think his perfect amount of time is him. And also the words he says. Like the little gift basket he sends at the end. David Spade, Chris Farley duo, always a great duo.
Oh man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
nope, it's Tommy Boy.
Yeah, it's Tommy Boy. Okay. Men in Tights and Ghostbusters. This one, once again, in my mind, both iconic. I think all these are going to be iconic from here on out. Ghostbusters, less of a comedy.
Yeah. A classic.
It is a classic. Get her. This one again comes down to rewatchability. That's what we're talking about, but I keep on having to say that. Men in Tights, brought to you by Mel Brooks, just like Spaceballs. And he knows the formula really well. Did Harold Ramis? He directed Ghostbusters, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought. I'm just curious. So
Harold Ramis directed Ghostbusters?
I believe so.
I believe so.
I thought it was Ivan Reitman.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, that's right. It is Ivan Reitman. You're right.
Okay.
I just know Harold Ramis became a director at some point.
I know he did Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where him and Bill Murray had a falling out.
So I have to because both of them are very memorable. I remember seeing both of these in the theater. I remember exactly which theater they are. One of them no longer exists, and the other one was a dollar theater and now is not. But Men in Tights, just like, wow. I was not like, that was in the heyday of the Kevin Costner Robin Hood movie, which I absolutely disliked.
Do you hate the?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I love it. I watched it as an adult because I hadn't watched it for decades, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is way better than I ever thought it was."
I just found it, and maybe I need to rewatch it as an adult, but I watched it as a teenager.
And that's
I'm like,
Alan Rickman in it, right?
This is
Is that Sheriff
As
Nottingham?
the king or
I'm
No,
like,
he's the sheriff.
sheriff. Oh yeah.
this is just long and drawn out, and man, Kevin Costner cannot keep an accent. And then when I saw Men in Tights, I'm like, this is everything that like. And then they brought out the whole like not being able to speak with an English accent or whatever.
Unlike other Robin Hoods, I can speak with a British accent.
I mean, the sad part about it is that guy, like, I will always see him as Robin Hood. Like,
Carrie Ulas or whatever
when
his
you
name
and me went to go see, like, I had, years prior had seen The Princess Bride, didn't even register. And then I saw The Princess Bride later. I'm like, oh, that's Robin Hood. And then when we went to see Saw, I was just like, oh, that's Robin Hood.
Yep, me too. Do you know, I blame you because for the reason that I didn't watch Princess Bride until way late in life because I didn't see it until my late teens.
I saw it when I was 9 in the theater, and I didn't care for it.
So that's why I never watched it because, for me, I mean, I don't know about you, but I saw movies that you and my sister wanted to watch because you're older than me. And so therefore you are my movie guides going through time going, you need to watch this. I mean, just as much as I do with my kids, you need to watch this.
Well, no offense, Nikki, but like, what were you having Jeremy watch?
I don't know. Breakfast. No, what is it called? Not Breakfast Club. The one movie that comes to mind is Babysitting. No, what is it called? The Adventures of Babysitting, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a great movie. But yeah, I'm going with Men in Tights as well. I would say it's not really even a question which one is more rewatchable. Because Men in Tights, you're going to laugh and laugh and laugh. Ghostbusters, you're going to hit a wall pretty quick.
Okay. I'm going to go with Men in Tights.
Okay. All right. And next, Austin Powers versus Anchorman. Very similar.
Ooh. Now that's going to be tough.
I mean, you have Mike Myers' portrayal of Austin Powers plus Dr. Evil plus, well, we're talking about probably number one, International
Yes.
Man of Mystery. So,
I mean, so many quotes. So many of them are good. And the best part about Anchorman is the deliveries are always dry. And that is like my humor. But Austin Powers, man, it
has nostalgic heartstrings for
Oh,
you.
yeah. Like, I don't own many Funko Pops. I own a Funko Pop of Austin Powers.
That's cool. I wonder if there's a Funko Pop of Dr. Evil, because that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And a mini me.
Mini me. The quotes from Austin Powers are pretty hilarious, especially from Dr. Evil himself. Just because of the things he says now, they're long-winded,
Yeah.
but they're hilarious.
Well, and then there's like those brief ones, like, how about no?
Yeah. I like his little monologue about his dad and his mom
My mother was
with web feet.
with web feet.
But Anchorman, yes, Anchorman was like, I feel like Anchorman came out of during I feel like a dry spell in cinema with humor, with comedy. I don't know if that's just me.
That was like the time where the rise of Will Ferrell.
Well, yeah, because Will Ferrell's biggest break to that point was what is it? The college one with Vince Vaughn.
Oh yeah.
What was that called?
Oh man, why? Oh gosh, why can't I not think of what that's called? I can see the case.
I can see it because it's Will Ferrell streaking.
Yeah, and
Out school.
school. What is it? I mean, I haven't seen the movie in forever because I mean, it was a one-time watch for me kind of thing.
I watched it old school. There
That's
we go.
right. That's right.
I watched it. I went back to California, and it was the first time I ever saw a movie in California, and I was dismayed that in 2004 or something like that, that movie tickets to a day matinee were like $14 each. And
That's
I'm like,
crazy. That back in 2004?
yeah.
Wow.
I was like, oh, I'm glad I live in Utah, where at the time it was like $6.
Mm-hmm.
California's overrated.
But yeah, I think this one's a hard one for me. Like, because I do have nostalgia in Austin Powers, and I would say when you rewatch something of nostalgia value, it actually, is there. You kind of relive that nostalgia. So it does have the power to make it more rewatchable. But then Anchorman is just, man, I'm trying to go through my mind once again, rewatching in my mind, which one would I get bored of first?
The more I think about it, the more I think Anchorman.
See, I think Anchorman has like those valleys of like, and Austin Powers, the biggest valley that you have is where he has that minor falling out with, what's her face?
Oh, I forget her name.
Who was a fembot all along?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth Hurley's
Hurley?
character. Yeah. Oh, Mrs. Kensington. Yeah. So, and then of course, Austin Powers. I think the other reason why I will go Austin Powers is it has those Johnny Lawrence lines that you can't say today.
I've gone through in my head and I've thought about which one would I get bored of first. And I think it's the level of comedic value is why I'd get, is just because there are lower hanging fruit, unfortunately, with Austin Powers. I'm going to go with Anchorman. I'm kind of surprised, but that's what it is. Okay. Ace Ventura versus Zombieland.
Again, two completely different movies.
Ace Ventura, I have watched numerous times compared to Zombieland, I would say.
Zombieland does have valleys of things, but kind of not like Airplane. Some of the things are set up for jokes in the near future. And then, of course, you have the whole clown thing that is set up at the very beginning that is going to it's going to happen eventually. And then, of course, it happens at the very end. So there's valleys of not funny stuff. It's dry, but there's a lot of setup.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Ace Ventura there's quick lines, there's moments, and then I now can no longer, whenever I hear Dan Marino or see him.
Exactly.
That's what I think of.
And it's funny because I occasionally, not very often in my life, do I hear about isotoners. But when I do, I think of Ace Ventura. Hey, Ace, you got any more of that gum?
Dang business, Dan.
I think this one's not. This one's pretty easy for me. It's Ace Ventura. I can rewatch Ace Ventura so many more times. Like even the time where Ace Ventura is reliving like a horrible situation, which in most movies would be very boring and slow. He's crying naked in a shower.
Yeah.
And so there's not very many lulls, even when they're at the most boring plays, like a psych ward.
Mm-hmm.
The plunger to the face.
Oh yeah.
Even like when he's having that realization of who Ray Finkel is.
Well, and then there's that one where he's sliding open and close the glass door.
Yes. Every single time where there could be a really boring situation, he makes it the opposite. It is entertaining. I have to go all in on Ace Ventura here.
Yep.
I love Zombieland with all my heart.
Ace Ventura.
But it does have many lulls.
Yep.
But also, just want to have to say it before we say goodbye to Zombieland. One of the greatest cameos of all time.
Oh yeah.
Bill Murray was
Hands down.
I can't think of a better.
You didn't like the cameo of Snowflake? Like
what?
Snowflake,
Snowflake?
the dolphin.
Oh, Snowflake the dolphin. I still don't even know if that's really a mascot of theirs. Is it?
No.
Did they ever have that?
They made that up.
Okay.
Even though the internet wasn't a thing back then, I did some like rudimentary research that wasn't a thing.
Okay. Because I've never known.
But I do love like him beating up the Philadelphia Eagles mascot.
Yeah, that was a good ending. I just love also Courtney Cox at that point. She's like, "That's my man." She doesn't say it, but like that's what she says with her eyes. Like,
Yeah.
All right, last one of the Sweet 16: Clue and Major League 2.
Oh,
Now, I've asked you this before. You saw Major League 2, right?
yes.
Okay. Some of these movies I know without a shadow of doubt. All these movies I know a shadow of doubt Brett has seen. So, but because we've watched them together, he mostly introduced me to most of these comedies. Major League 2 is by far way better than Major League 1.
Yes.
I don't even really care to acknowledge Major League 1. Just like if you ever seen Hot Shots Part 2, and I'm kind of actually surprised I didn't put Hot Shots Part 2 on here.
Well, I'm surprised we didn't get Loaded Weapon 1 on there.
I was tempted to put him on Loaded Weapon on there, but I didn't. Instead I wasted it with A League of Their Own. Hot Shots Part 2 is to the point where Hot Shots 1 doesn't even exist. Like,
Oh yeah.
and that has Carrie Ulis or whatever in it too.
Yeah.
I want to know how to pronounce his last name. Anyway,
That's why I just call him Guy. That's
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood. Yeah.
But then there's Clue, one of Tim Curry's, I'd probably argue his best performance.
Yes.
I can't think of
I mean, there's the other iconic performance, but you told me that you watched it in high
Rocky
school in
Horror.
your film class, and to me, the only part that is good about that story, that movie, and I haven't seen it, and I don't want to, is just because it's not up my alley, but it is and I rewatched this just the other day, oddly enough, which was the dance-off between Mimi and Drew Carey's Priscilla and Rocky Mountain Horror. I love that dance-off.
The Drew Carey show was great.
it was great. Yes, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm sorry for you listeners that enjoy that. It's a cult classic. I don't get it at all, but I am grateful for the ripple effect it has in society.
Oh yeah.
Grateful for that. Don't enjoy the movie. But no. The only other movie that comes to mind for Tim Curry, I mean, you could say It, the made-for-TV movie.
I love it. Oh, have you seen that? Because I know we share my Apple thing. Have you seen the documentary on the It made-for-TV series? Oh, you should. It is so good.
I'll have to get a watch. And then the other one, he plays a side character. And I would argue the only time Tim Curry ever plays a good guy is Hunt for Red October.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's just not a lot of Tim Curry classics out there.
No.
I feel like he was underutilized in Hollywood.
Yes.
Or maybe he just wanted to pick quality stuff.
That's
or something.
true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going with Clue.
Yep.
Love the Clue. Rewatchable. Great.
Going with Clue. Yes.
Kind of surprised I'm going to Major League 2.
Oh.
I think it's way more rewatchable.
I love the whole running back and forth scene in Clue. That is my favorite thing in the entire world. When it was you, yes, and then just kind of going this. I love that. Absolutely love that.
Well, that took longer than I thought. So we will discuss at a later time, which I thought was just going to be a two-parter, but now it's going to be a three-parter of the most rewatchable comedy movies with Spaceballs, moving on, Airplane, Dodgeball, Tommy Boy, Men in Tights, Anchorman, Ace Ventura, and Clue. I cannot believe, and I think we're going to have a lot to talk about these and comparing them, because those, I'm just thinking, before we finish, these last 8 movies, Spaceballs, Airplane, Dodgeball, Tommy Boy, Men in Tights, Anchorman, Ace Ventura, Clue, they would probably be in my top 25. All of them would be.
Oh yeah.
For comedies.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So rewatchability does have a factor in being with some of the best comedies. It'll be interesting to see where we come down, because I could see this is where the blood is going to start to be shed, so to speak.
Yep.
All right. Well, now it's time to our one recommendation.
All right. So my one recommendation, and this is a recommendation because of not only is it a iconic, at least to me, cartoon, but it also comes at a day after the sad passing of the voice actor who portrayed Bruce Wayne / Batman in the Batman the Animated Series, Kevin Conroy. That is, when I read Batman comics, that is the Batman voice that I hear.
Which one is he? Is he the one from the 90s?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's what Batman sounds like. I mean, granted, when I read older comics where things are a little bit more
Adam
weird,
West?
it's Adam West's voice. But when it's serious or whatever, because I can't hear what's his face from The Dark Knight. I don't want to hear throat cancer.
Yeah, it's true.
And then it's just like Ben Affleck. I nothing against him. Oddly, I think there's going to be two Batmans going in the DC universe going forward, and I think one of them is going to continue to be Ben Affleck, and I think the other one is going to be in a universe all by himself. Is what's his face from Twilight,
Which is unfortunate because I don't appreciate
Bobby Patterson.
I appreciate him as Batman. I've said it before on this podcast. I don't appreciate him as Bruce Wayne.
I feel like he'd be a better Dick Grayson.
Yes,
I would agree with that 100% on both sides. On both sides as Dick Grayson, and Dick Grayson plays Robin Hood, right? I'm not
Robin, Nightwing.
Or Nightwing.
Nightwing, okay. So yeah, just wanted to make sure because I know there's like a difference there. But yes, I would say on both sides of the coin, better on both. Where Batman, it's only Batman, not Bruce Wayne.
And then I'm excited that Henry Cavill also will probably be doing future Superman.
Oh, you
movies.
like Henry Cavill,
And
huh?
not only do I like Henry Cavill, but there's hope because they're going to do a Man of Steel 2, but it sounds like this is going to be a more upbeat, happy, uplifting Man of Steel compared to the movie that we got in the 2013s or whatever, whenever it came out.
Which was the villain in that one?
Zod.
Zod? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I hated that storyline. I won't get started on it.
But yeah, I strongly recommend Batman the Animated Series and also Batman Beyond.
Yay, Batman Beyond.
I have to ask this because I haven't asked you guys about this, and I'd like it to be on record. What are your guys' thoughts on Love and Thunder? Have you seen it yet?
Have not seen it.
Have you seen it?
Thor?
Yeah.
I've seen it.
What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, I've seen it one time. I did not think it was as good as Ragnarok. I don't think Taika was up to his same level. I almost feel like he got roped into that movie, whereas I feel like he wanted to do Ragnarok.
I could see that. But do you like it? Do you not like it? What?
I enjoyed it. I don't know if it's as rewatchable.
Because I say this because I finally watched it, and I had got told by pretty much everybody that it was a horrible movie. I watched it. I was like, I liked it. I liked it a lot. Like, it's definitely not as good as Ragnarok, like you said.
Yeah.
But it is, to me, it is, and I'm sorry because this is probably not a popular opinion, but it is kind of like in an Ant-Man realm, almost Spider-Man realm, like in enjoyability. So that's where I would say, because I put those a little bit closer to the middle of Marvel movies as Ant-Man and Spider-Man movies.
Interesting, because I have those on completely different spectrums.
I know. Yep. I know. But that's where I would say this belongs. It's a good but not great Marvel movie, and I enjoyed it. Natalie Portman didn't ruin it like I was kind of expecting she would, but
See, my biggest problem is like Marvel's. It's probably been said multiple times. Phase bore. Like, this phase is boring, and
especially for movies. I would say specifically movies.
Yeah, and everybody's like, no, but they're setting stuff up. What are they setting up?
Nothing.
Like, I don't see it. At least, in the first phase, you had what's his face. Samuel L. Jackson's character, Nick Fury, was kind of like recruiting all these people. So, you had that in the background. We know it's like King the Conqueror is going to be the next villain that they are going to be fighting. Why aren't we setting that up? Is that going to be phase 5? Like, what is being set up now?
See, I wish they had set up Adam Warlock's character because they set him up in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, or was it 1?
2.
At the very end,
At
yeah.
the very end,
yeah, it
yeah.
is at the very end of 2 because of the gold people.
I know that they've described this phase as the multiverse saga, and I'm like, okay, but at least in phase 1, you were setting up the Infinity Stones. This one, it's like so scattered. There's no like nothing happening. It's just okay. There's the multiverse there, and then there's Thor happening here,
and I hate to be an old person, but the multiverse.
Get off my lawn.
Multiverse is confusing.
See, that's my favorite thing about the DC world is DC is all about multiverse, and that is my jam. That is my geekiness right there. I love it so much.
They need to lean into that because, like, I did enjoy the multiverse crossover event in the Arrowverse. I really like that. They brought it all together very well.
Also featuring Kevin Conroy as Batman.
Batman.
Yes.
But the thing is, I feel like the multiverse of Marvel is anything can happen. So is that really a storyline? That literally almost anything can happen? I don't know. Is that really a buildup?
It's probably more towards fan service, if anything.
Okay. Because it's like we can make anything happen because we opened up the multiverse. This is a can of worms that anything can happen. So,
yeah, I mean, with DC, they really lean heavily into like, what if Batman was bad, or what if Superman was bad, and what if these universes crossed?
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, it's fine. I just don't know how you build up to that because literally they're leaving the door open for the writers to do anything. And whereas with the Infinity Stones, the door's not open. The Infinity Stones are going to come in. We know what we're building to. So that's what my complaint is. My one recommendation is I'm going to give this off of a whim here because I watched the first episode. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It's called The Inside Man, which, not to be confused with a great movie. Is
that Inside Man? Is that a British series?
I don't think it's British. I mean, it's on Netflix. It does take place partly in England, and it takes place partly in America. So what happens in this to get you interested? First of all, what's his name? Stanley Tucci is in prison for life. He's gonna be executed at some point for murdering his wife. He is a Hannibal Lecter-ish kind of character, where he is very intelligent, and people come to him for solving cases. And there's this big black guy that's in the cell next to him that is he reminds me a little bit with the Green Mile. What's that guy's name?
Oh, something. Three name guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, that's the same guy that's in Daredevil, right?
Yes, as the Kingpin.
Kingpin, yeah. So him in Armageddon, right?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure all three are the same guy. That's already passed away, unfortunately. So he's like him, but imagine him with his sweet personality, cuddliness, but kind of somebody who would murder you at a moment's notice and probably eat you afterwards.
All right.
So, and their banter back and forth is hilarious between the two. Brett, I know you would get a kick out of at least the first episode because that's all I'm in, and so far I'm in.
Okay.
And so people come to him for cases while there's a case kind of unraveling in England that that eventually is going to come to him on his end. So I would give a recommendation to Inside Man just off of the first episode. If it doesn't amount to any more than that, at least you watch the first episode because I think the first episode's worth a watch. So, and also I think you're gonna have to correct me when you watch it, Brett. But I think one of the main characters on the British end is from the show Spy.
Oh,
his wife, his ex-wife, I guess I should say. I think it's her. I haven't looked it up.
Love Spy.
Yeah. But that's my recommendation. Watch Inside Man. Watch it with me, and so we can talk about it.
Yeah, I will have to watch episode 1 sometime this week. Yeah.
Okay, and my recommendation while you're watching Batman with Kevin Conroy and The Inside Man, eat y'all kiwi.
Eat your kiwi.
Eat y'all kiwi. I recommend kiwi.
Kiwi is good.
Kiwi's good.
Have you tried the yellow kiwi? It's good too.
Yes.
I had it not too long ago for the first time. I was happy about it.
Dragon fruit or kiwi?
Kiwi.
They're basically almost the same
I
thing.
know.
It's funny because one time I was in a rush to eat food, and so when you mentioned earlier that you can eat the skin, one time I just was such in a rush, I grabbed a kiwi and just shoved it all in my mouth without even knowing that you can eat the skin. I was like, I'm just gonna swallow it. And ever since then, I'm like, I'm lazy.
It sounds like Homer. It's like, non-toxic. That's a plus.
So I do eat it without skin, but occasionally I'll just plop a whole thing in my mouth and eat it. Lop off the edges, of course. I'm not a monster like the top and the bottom.
What am I doing?
Get out of here.
All right, you guys, get.